Brett Perigo, tonight's second place finisher. Plenty of fans here, Brett, and a solid second place finish.
Yeah, I got to shout out the Turn 2 Terribles over there. They're all a bunch of good guys to hang out with, talk to. I really like them.
How are you doing tonight, man?
Hey, I'm talking here. You know who you're talking to? Macho Man! I'm on my way to Monday Night Raw.
The second one.
Your choice.
It's a trap.
I feel like it is. I feel like he's setting up fights in the front stretch is what he's trying to do.
Speedway. We've got Devin Board with us.
At Keen Motorsports Shop here with Kyle Keen.
Sitting here with Sean Keen. We're going to talk a little bit about racing history.
Yep.
What's going on? Turn 2 Terribles on this Super Bowl victory Monday. Go Birds. Go Birds. I am Jimmy here with Chris. Jay-Z might be on a little bit later. We'll see. But we got two very special guests tonight. We got Jordan Givler and Dylan Orwig that'll be joining us. They'll be talking about their new partnership for 2025, and we'll talk about that and some more. Obviously, we're going to talk about the Birds a little bit just because look at all these Fly Eagles flies, the EAGLES chants in the chat. Love to see it. Go Birds. Go Birds. Chris, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm happy. I much prefer the Eagles won this Super Bowl versus the last time. I know how Jordan feels. And it sucks that he signed up to come here today. But
yeah, great timing.
Last time the Eagles won the Super Bowl, my Patriots were the victim. So this is much more enjoyable for me. So,
yeah. For those of you who don't know, Jordan Givler's a big Chiefs fan. So I'm not going to bust him too much because they've had plenty of years of success. So
the run's over.
But yeah, and then after that, we'll just kind of catch up on Volusia results and talk about any other topics that come up. But yeah, before we bring them on, we just want to give a quick shout out to our partners over at Vertical for Life. They're trying to prevent veteran suicide one beat at a time through music, through education, through just support for veterans going through mental health issues after service. And if you go over to their website here, verticalforlife.com, has more information where you could donate. And also check out their shop. They got a lot of really cool, items here. You got shirts, you got hats, you got coolers, you got tumblers, all sorts of different tumblers, beanies, all sorts of stuff, and it all goes to a great cause, supporting our friends over at Vertical for Life. We are very proud to be partnered with them, and yeah, just a great foundation that does a lot of good for a really great cause. So, put this off. That'll be for later. So, without further ado, thanks everybody for joining us again. If you have questions for either one of these guys, make sure you're putting them in the chat. This should be a fun interview. Let's bring them both on. Jordan Givler and Dylan Orwig. Fellas, thank you so much for joining us.
No problem. How's you guys doing?
I'm great. Jordan, how are you? I know. I mean, listen, you've had 2 in a row. I know last night was pretty rough, but I mean, had a good run.
The last 7 years make last night a little bit easier, but that was horrible to watch.
I'm not. Yeah, I don't think 7 years make up for you getting absolutely dismantled for 3/4 of a game in front of the world.
It was all 4 quarters. It was. Let's be real. Like,
I mean, you got some 22 happy points.
I mean, it was the 3rd string players, which is cool. Everyone got to play in the Super Bowl for Philly. So
Yeah,
That's true.
all 53 are in the ring.
The Chiefs are still on the bus. They didn't even get off the bus.
No, that was. I thought it was going to be like a 6-point game, one way or the other. Like, I was like,
Yeah.
I can see Eagles winning very easily. I can see Chiefs winning. I thought the key was just going to be stopping Saquon, and they stopped
And they
Saquon.
did.
They didn't
did.
do anything
They
else
did.
besides that.
I didn't think they were going to do that at all. I did not think Saquon could be stopped, but they did it. But Jalen Hurts, man.
So I have a question though. Did the Eagles game plan around Travis Kelce?
He had what, 1 catch? I don't even think he had two.
I mean, when Mahomes
I feel like he was
has
open.
a
Mahomes couldn't
quarter
get
of
the
a
ball to
second
him.
to throw the ball every single
Yeah,
play. I don't think anyone had a chance to even like get
He
off the
did
line of
drop. He
scrimmage.
did drop one.
He did
Yeah,
drop
He
one.
did drop one.
He did
He
drop
dropped
one.
one.
He had a couple catches there at the
Take
end when it
that,
didn't matter.
easy,
Yeah.
baby. Take that.
All right.
Probably
Well, let's.
he's gonna retire.
He will. I think so too.
I won't keep opening fresh wounds for you. So let's get talking to racing. Why don't you guys explain your new partnership here for 2025?
Well, I can probably start that off. I got his one crew guy, Dakota. He shot me a text. I personally didn't know what was going to happen. I had all intentions on probably selling out, giving it up, this and that. Had a couple things in my mind, and I was like, I told Dakota, sure, I'll talk to Jordan. Jordan gave me a call. We were probably on the phone for probably 2.5, 3 hours almost, just talking about every scenario, this and that, what could be brought to the table, what I need to do, what I need to update, because I had some stuff that needed updated and everything. And lo and behold, it just worked out, and we're putting a schedule together. We actually have one, and we're just going to try to tackle Central Pennsylvania and see what we can do. Like everything just it seemed right. It seemed like a good decision. Like, I had a couple other people reach out to me on my phone and this and that, and it just felt right with Jordan. Like I said, we were on the phone for like ever, and I brought it up to my crew guys, because my operation is basically my whole family, and I could have just sat there and made a decision. Yes, Jordan, you can come aboard. So I brought it up to the rest of my crew and this and that. It's like, hey, what do you guys think? We took 2-3 days to think about it, and we all thought it was a good decision. And we called Jordan and said, hey, bring your shit and let's make something happen.
So I want to go. So with that, let's go, Dylan. I want to hear about your story, to how you got started in the racing, to led to this point, to where you have your team, and why you're not driving. Let's go with that first.
How I got started, like how every other person probably got started. My dad, he raced from he's gonna yell at me if I forget it, but it's 96, and his last year was 04, 05. He ran 358s around here for a long time. Like anybody else, I grew up around the track. Every Friday at Williams Grove, every Saturday at Lincoln Speedway. It was like all this stuff happening, like the path. Like I thought I'll just be sitting in the stands being a fan for my whole life. And then one day my dad decided to put a car back together around, now this was probably 14, 15. We decided to put a car together, and he said he was going to race. And so I started buying parts and this and that, build up stock. And just randomly, I came walking in the shop, and he asked me, what size seat do you need? And I'm like, well, what are you talking about? He's like, I'm not going to drive. You're going to drive the car. So right there we went. I went from spending a little bit of money on my dad, and I decided to start buying more stuff for me. And the funny thing was, very first race in the heat race coming off of 4, I wadded it up in the corner, totaled everything, and took 2 years to come back. So I started buying more stuff, and one thing led to another. I had a good 3 to 4 years in 358s. It was fun, and then we had an opportunity to move up to the 410 rank. Was I ready? Probably not, but like the opportunity to buy the race 410s, it's like getting called up from the minor leagues to the major leagues in one day. That's how it is here, especially with the people I grew up around, this and that, and this. Like, okay, I can make this happen. So I bought a 410 motor, this and that, and we ran BAPS towards the end of the year. I think 2 years ago, and we were starting getting stuff rolling. Okay, so what can we do? Like, all right, I can make this happen. How many races can we run? My uncle decided to help out more. He bought me a trailer, so I was able to sell my trailer, bought another motor. And so I was like, awesome, I'm sitting good. I got 2 motors. I got 2 cars. We're ready to rock and roll. And then this past end of last year, actually no, Memorial Day weekend, I had a wreck, and I banged my head a little bit too much and had a concussion. I felt like I had a major hangover for a month. And I didn't feel right. I didn't know if I wanted to let my car sit, but I had some sponsors that weren't family. Most of my sponsors are family. It's like I said, it's a whole family deal. And we got Jeff Rollball in the car. He finished out the season, and it was awesome. We learned a lot from him, this and that, and it was just so awesome because I used to watch him when I was a little kid race, and to have him in my car, I thought that was awesome. And then going to the off season, I didn't know what was happening. Like I said before, I thought I was going to sell out, be done. And then, like I said, Dakota reached out to me about Jordan, and I just sat down by myself, and I was just thinking, like, okay, like me personally, me driving, like I could probably, I can make a show here, make a show there, and just basically throw money away. And then I just thought about, I was like, if I bring Jordan aboard and this and that, maybe I can take my little small mom and pop deal, and we can actually make something happen. And more I thought about, like, if this happened, like if all these pieces to the puzzle come together, like we can make a good team out of this deal. And one thing led to another, like I said, and we made the decision to. And the best seat in the house, I hate to tell you, it is in that cockpit, sitting in the driver's seat, hitting the throttle. It's a legal drug. It is. That's the easiest way to say it. Driving these cars, it's you can't explain to it unless, like, hey, like, Jimmy, like, here, put a suit on. We're going to go to BAPS, and you're going to take it around on a test night. Like, I wish I could do it. That's the easiest way to explain it. Just hop in and go. You know what I mean? It's an adrenaline rush, and it's one of the things that you just want it to happen. But the nice thing for me is coming from my dad being involved in racing, and the nice thing with me, I still had that fan in my system where I can still step back and, like, okay, I can still work on these cars, and I can still have the enjoyment of someone taking a car around the track. So, but hopefully you don't wad too much stuff up. Maybe that might change my opinion on it. But I can still have a car on the track, and I'm still having fun, and it feels good. So that's why I decided to take a step back to let somebody take over.
Before I go to Jordan, so Dylan, I want to ask, how hard is that? Remove yourself from the car, and it's going to be your baby with someone else taking care of it out there, and you're just sitting there hopeless on the trailer watching it. I mean, you got a little bit of it last year because you were hurt, but now is that gonna be hard?
It was hard. I think it's more easier with Jordan, but it was more harder with Jeff when he had it out there. And like the first race of him going around the track, like with Jeff taking it out, going out, and I'm just like my nerves a little bit. And of course, like on the very first lap, like he did a wheel stand, and I'm like, okay, all right, let's go. Like, gonna walk myself.
Settle down.
and I'm just like, okay, like, all right, great. My first race as a car owner. Here we go. Like, but it like scale 1 to 10, it's a 10. It's tough. It truly is tough. It's like you said, he's taking my baby out and going around the track, and I want to be in that seat. But like I said, like the nice thing is, like, I don't know how, but like when like when Jeff came in, like when Jeff came off the track and this and that, we went to the cockpit, like, hey, what do you need? Like, what does the car need adjustments? Like what's going on? Like, you tell me and I'll try to make the car most comfortable for you. And it was just clicking. So like like I said, I'm enjoying working on the car, and like, yeah, it's tough watching your baby go around the track. But I think Jeff got that out of my system. I think it's gonna be more easier watching Jordan go around the track. So.
And that goes right into now, Jordan. You've been running your own deal. You had your own baby that you were driving. What are your thoughts now, driving someone else's baby around the track? You still have Dakota there, and you
this is
drive
odd.
now. Very odd. I know it's perfect. But like, what are your thoughts now, going from car owner and driver to driver partnership?
Yeah, I mean, at least I'm going to say the first year here together. I mean, hopefully our plan is to have many years together and kind of build something special. I think realistically, this first year, I don't know that my mindset's going to change tremendously, because we're still a small team.
Yeah.
So our goal is that over the next few years, I think we kind of have a vision of ways to get a little bit bigger and a little bit better. And maybe there's times where you can take a few more calculated risks and not hold back at all. But at least here in the beginning, as we're still trying to get things put together and build up, things came together so late that we don't have an abundance of stuff built yet. We have enough to get going, and it's really good stuff. So, to start the season, I think it's going to be, take the chances whenever they're there. But at the same time, some nights you have to live to race another day. And if this goes the way that we hope that it goes, take a few more chances here and there, and it's not my baby, but we'll see. We'll see.
It's like the greatest thing ever.
Phil, do you think it's easier to give it over maybe to somebody like Jordan just because he was a driver owner? He knows how to take care of equipment and knows that side of it, compared to maybe if you had somebody else that maybe doesn't understand the value of that?
Oh yes. Like just going from like just watching some people and this and that, like, so you can tell how some people get in the car and they're all gas and no brains. You know what I mean? They're bouncing it off the wall, this and that, and hell, like come they just wad the car up one night and like, great, I don't have a car to put together for you for the next week. And I think the nice thing is too, like, I got to race against Jordan a couple times at the Grove, and I think we raced maybe once or twice at Lincoln, this and that, fairly in the 358s and this and that. And he has a, like, I'm not just saying it because he's driving my car, but he does have a clean driving style, this and that. Like, he'll push the car, but he won't put it in unnecessary, risks. But like maybe one day, like, hey, like, all right, I gotta split these two people, and we can do that because, hey, we do have another car back home if we do take this chance, But he doesn't take the unnecessary chances, which is an awesome trait to have. So I think it is easy. Like, his driving style is clean, and it kind of worked out.
Sure. So before we go in looking ahead to this year, Jordan, can you recap your last season for us? I know obviously it ended with a bang on Dirt Vision and Dallas shot and all that, but prior to that, tell us how the 90 was last year and kind of your thoughts on that, and then we'll go on.
Yeah, and this is something Dylan and I talked about quite a bit whenever we came together. The first half of last year, nothing spectacular really to talk about with the 90. I think we talked about this maybe at the end of last season when we got together. I struggled with the transition to the new tires. I thought we were really getting somewhere, I should say, at the end of 2022, and our results were really going in a positive manner. We won, one of our first 410 race. We were running top 5 here, top 10. And then when we changed tires, it was a tough transition for me. As last year progressed, we kept searching, and I got more comfortable. We started to find more speed. The end of last season, I was happier where we were getting to. For a smaller team like what mine was with the 90, sometimes what your goals have to be on like the big time trial shows, and being realistic might be a little bit different than whenever you roll into Lincoln. It's a handicap show and the field's a little bit different. So a lot of the races there at the end of last year were all the bigger time trial shows, but we were timing about as good as we ever have. We were in all the big races, like we talked the Outlaw show. We kind of put ourselves in a position that we might have made that show. I don't know, but we were fast enough that we weren't going to be at the back of the C main or anything, So we were heading in probably the best direction that we had been in 2 years. And that was promising. Like I was like, okay, cool. Like I'm feeling good again. We're getting good balance. And I think we've learned a lot. I think I know what I need in the car right now, from a fuel standpoint and what we need to do to accomplish that on these tires. And I was pretty optimistic where things were heading, and I hope that we can carry that over here with Dylan's deal.
Right. And how has that talks been? Obviously, you learned a lot back half, and then you have Dylan and his team's knowledge. Have you guys talked a lot about what you can maybe start off better with earlier or quicker, I should say, with the new tire, with everything, chassis, whatever it may be?
So it's probably not going to be correct right out of the box. We're changing frames from what I've been used to, and every car is a little bit different. But I think kind of from our standpoint, to go into whatever our first race is going to be, we're thinking the icebreaker, but depending what Mother Nature says and what Lincoln decides to do, we might not be at the first race, but we'll see. I think we're going to try and roll that car out very similar to how like we were rolling the 90 into Lincoln at the end of the year. But every car is different, like not just frame manufacturer A to B, but even like car 1 and car 2 from a certain manufacturer can have their own little intricacies. So we're just going to throw in what we would have gone to the track with if it was our car. And we might be great right out of the box. We might be a pile of crap, but we'll figure it out.
A base, right? That'll give you a base to work off of at the very least.
Yeah. So we have that standpoint, and there's little things with Dylan's car, nothing crazy, but just little things that we were doing last year that I'm not saying we're right, but just like where we got to, as far as like squaring different things or the lengths of different pickup points or certain things on the car that
The front axles.
yeah, like a little bit different than what Dylan was running. And we changed everything over, and we're going to try that and just get our starting point and then go from there and just try and find, more comfort and speed as the year goes on and see what we can do.
For sure. So talk about this season. Hopefully the icebreaker. What's your schedule looking like for the 2D and maybe the 90?
I'll let you take 2D.
For the 2D car, we plan on just running mainly Lincoln. And we're gonna stick to that, stick to the handicap shows, and also we're gonna throw in a couple time trial shows here and there too. The one cool thing for me, I always wanted to have a car, and we're actually going to run the Outlaw shows at Lincoln, which is going to be probably a surreal like dream come true, which is going to be, I think it's going to be pretty cool. So yeah, we're just going to mainly do Lincoln, but like we can't rule out BAPS. Like if we're having a good day on a Saturday, we roll the car in and say we had a good finish and we're feeling frisky. Let's hey, we're going to sit down, talk to each other. But hey, do we want to go to BAPS tomorrow? And we'll figure that out. But the 2D, we're going to mainly do Lincoln for this year. Now we have, I think, 28
to 30.
28 to 30 shows at Lincoln. Definitely going to do the high limit show at Path. And I think we actually do have BAPS on our schedule once for Speed Week we're going to do. So the 2 shows at Lincoln and the show at BAPS. And a couple other, I think I'm missing one.
I think we got the Path Speed Week race.
Yes, Path Speed Week
race. And then I think
race.
there might be a Clinton County show that we're going to roll the 2D up north. Yeah.
That'll be it for probably this the first year. And like he said, we did not just bring him aboard for just 1 year. This is definitely going to hopefully be more to that. Maybe one day we can sit down here and say, hey, this is our 7th year going into it. Like, what are we going to do now? Like, it's going nice. We do have goals for the future already. Like, hell, like growing up as a kid, like in my opinion, the favorite 2 races in my mind were always the National Open and Tuscarora 50. Like, I think it'll be awesome to try, like, just to be there with a car. But like, hell, if we can make the show one day there, like, hell, just to do that, I think that would be an accomplishment for me. And so I think there's a lot of goals we have, but to get the first year under our belt, we're mainly going to concentrate on Lincoln for the 2D car.
In the 90, Jordan?
Yeah, so I'm thinking we're probably going to have that together like 10 to 15 races. We've always done we've done the Billy Kimmel Memorial Race with my car the last, I think, like 5 years now. Yeah. The body for that is a special body that everyone that's involved with that race bought, put together, lettered. It already mocks up to one of the frames that I have. And just from a simplicity standpoint, with Dylan's work schedule, with my work schedule, with all the guys, as we started to kind of look at the logistics of things, it sort of made sense. Like if we're going to run the Grove, maybe I put my car back together to do that. So probably I'm going to say like 5 to 6 races at the Grove at minimum with my stuff, or the 90, I should say. And then we're looking if we can make it work, maybe going out and doing Western PA Speed Week again with that car. There's a race kind of right towards the end of PA Speed Week. The All-Stars have a race out at Latrobe. That's where we won at a couple years ago. So I was like, oh, we're going back there. So I think that's another like logistical thing that the 2D is going to be at Path the day after that. So in a perfect world, we'll take my car out to Latrobe, run there, and then just kind of work our way like halfway back east and then hit Path Valley, hook up with Dylan's car and run that. But not 100% certain on all the races yet with that. And a lot of it's going to depend like, hey, how are things going? Because if we're having a really good year together, I mean, there's a chance we might add a few races if things are going well. But I think like any Grove shows that we run will probably be in the 90. And then just a couple other pick and choose things. Like if we want to go out of town to something, whether it be an all-star race or a fast race or whatever, might do that with my car.
Sure. So one more thing before Jimmy, you take over. What are your guys' goals, like realistic goals for this season, for the 2D or the 90 or just in general?
Well, I gotta say, like every goal for a team, obviously you want a checker flag. You know, that's everybody's goal. That you get in a sprint car race and you get in any type of race and you want to win. That's the goal. But for this first year, like I gotta say, just I want to see what this team does. The goal is just to have fun, this and that. But I want to hopefully at the end of the night we can just roll the car in like we roll it out. Like, you know, take some data in. If we have a bad night, we can discuss what's going on and how can we do better next week. But like the crew guys and us, like we all know how to work on a car. We know how to make a car go around the track. We know how to do everything. I think our only hiccup will probably be learning each other, because this is the first year we're all working together. And I think that'd be basically for the first couple races to see how everybody works. Like I might not like the way how Jordan works on some things, and he might not like the way I work on some things. And we gotta figure out a sweet spot. You know what I'm saying? So goal wise, like I just want us to get to a nice gel point. And honestly, maybe we can make some shows, make some big shows. That'd be awesome. Make the show against the Outlaws. That'll probably be like a one, you know, like little twitch right there to see what we can do. And I don't know. The main thing is just roll the car in like we roll it out. So that's all I gotta say about 2D. So hopefully you don't wreck it. That's my baby.
Jordan, as a driver, what are your goals, since you have a little bit of that ownership burden off your back?
Yeah, I mean, and one of the things too, like the whole 2D team was so fresh into the 410 ranks, and things kind of went off the rails a little bit whenever you wrecked. That them learning and developing didn't really happen at the rate that maybe they anticipated. And then like Jeff definitely helped them out, but it still really wasn't that many races. Only maybe like 5 or 6.
Yeah, we did 6 races with Jeff.
So I remember thinking back to like the first year I transitioned from 358s to 410s and what that was like. And that was, I mean, it can be a hard jump. I mean, it's a lot different. The competition's a lot different. So, you know, like where they were at, where I want to get back to, I feel like where I was a couple of years ago, I would like to think that come summertime, like I would love to get to the point where we're rolling into Lincoln. If it's a regular Saturday race, let's be a top 10 car. You know, I think we're capable of that. You know, that we're very realistic that the first 4 races out, I don't know, we might not qualify. We might be in the top 10 every night. I don't know, till we figure out where we are with the car and as a team. But I think that's where we can get to. I think we should be able to get to a point that at the big races, like when we go to a speed week show, like let's be in the A, let's make laps, you know, the all-star race at Lincoln, let's make the A. Any of these big time trial shows, like get to a point that we're qualifying and then work from there. You know, we've both been doing it long enough, even, you know, from before I started driving, working on cars, and when Dylan's dad was racing. We're going to have ups and downs. But that would be my ultimate goal, is get to a point that, you know, the regular handicap shows at Lincoln on a regular Saturday, that the 2D can be a top 10 car. And when we get to these bigger paying races with bigger fields, like let's make the A, and then, you know, kind of work on it from there, and then, you know, keep trying to achieve more.
And you guys got a nice little guys kind of got it out because if something does happen, you could just blame Dakota because it probably will be his fault. I'm kidding.
It's what I've always done. It's what we'll continue to do.
It definitely works.
It's Dakota's fault.
Dakota's fault. I'll throw the wrench at him.
We get a heavy wrench too.
A couple of fan questions here. First here, I guess these are from two different people. Randy Kopp says, car looks good. Any merch available? And then Santos also asks, any merch for 2025? Also, any leftover 90 merch I may or may not have stated.
Very, very minimal leftover 90 merch. I just have some really random sizes of stuff, and it's like, I don't know, I'll have to look through. So if you're interested, hit me up, but very low on that. We are going to have 2D merch. So not for the first race, but we're hoping by the time...
Still trying to work out the small details and on what we want to do. Yeah, but
maybe by the time the night races roll around, we're hoping to have stuff out for that. And then we'll definitely, if everyone remembers, I ended up running the car the entire second half of the season last year, but the American flag scheme on the 90 car that we did. So our plan, the 2D is actually going to look like that during Speed Week this year. So that car was done as a tribute to Zach Pfeiffer, who passed away. He Tim Pfeiffer, State Farm Insurance sponsor, that's been on the 90 for a while. He's also going to be on the 2D this year, kind of as a tribute for Zach. And last year we had a lot of positive feedback on that car, and everyone's like, "Hey, merch." And the timing wasn't right for that. But the Pfeiffers are working on setting up a charitable organization to help families that lose their children unexpectedly, to help cover final expenses and things like that. And the wheels are kind of turning so that hopefully when Speed Week rolls around, we're going to run that car again. There's going to be merchandise just for that week, and all proceeds from that merchandise are going to go to their foundation. So that'll be something to keep an eye out on. And then we'll see if we do anything with the 90 car. Kind of just depends how many races I end up running with it and what I want to do. Definitely probably going to have a mint back to some extent. So I keep asking you, bring the mint back. So yeah, I think we are.
Sure. And if people that can't get to the racetrack want to buy some 2D merch or even that 2D American flag merch, is there a website or someone that you guys are working on to have online ordering or no?
So I do have a website that I put very little attention to, and it does have an
kind of like your Facebook.
Kind of like my Facebook. And I know I've even gotten some orders there that I'd never updated the fact that I was out of stuff. So I have done a really crappy job of that. But we're going to try and actually utilize that. So when we get everything, I should know that. I think it's JordanGivler.com. I'm pretty certain that's what my website is. Check that out. But yeah, we'll have everything up there, and there will be links. My racing page on Facebook, as well as the Orwig Motorsports page on Facebook. You'll be able to follow our all season long on both of those. And it should be JordanGivler.com. There's a store there, and I'll be putting the links up on social media then too on Facebook and Twitter once we kind of get that stuff up and rolled out.
I would love to help him with the website, but I've never went there. I've just messaged Jordan, had to wait 4 to 5 business days for him to answer and figure out where to send my shit at.
Yeah, guilty.
Right, Jimmy, go ahead.
Brad Weatherby, and this was kind of answered by Brian Orwig here, but will you guys be at Motorama?
Oh, yes, we will. Yep, I think setup, if I remember correctly, I think setup is Friday and it's Saturday, Sunday. So yeah, yes, we'll be there.
And then Santos asked, his second question was, JG, how was the cheesesteak at Pumpkin Fest?
So at Pumpkin Fest, the cheesesteak was really good, but after last night, I'm pretty scarred on anything cheesesteak related.
Was that a Philly cheesesteak at Pumpkin Fest? Or?
Yeah, it was. Which now, kind of thinking back to that, was that
probably
like the bad omen that set everything into this weird spiral of the team forgets how to play. I don't know, maybe. So
it's called an ass whooping.
That's what it's called. I don't know. How
like cheese whiz and everything on it, like all the garbage.
It's called belt to ass. That's what it's called.
Yeah, no, it was the full deal. It was the cheese whiz. It was everything. And
you summoned the Philly gods of your team up.
It was tasty, but it was not worth it. Like as a Chiefs fan, it wasn't worth it, but it's worth it. Go buy us cheesesteaks though.
Matthew Bird asked, Jordan and Dylan, how did you guys pick your car numbers?
Well, I guess I'll go first with mine. My dad, when he raced, his car number was 3D. The reason for that was because he had 3 kids and they were all named D: Dylan, Damien, and Danielle. And I just went with it. So I decided to do 2D because I was the second one born and my name starts with D. So it was either 2D or it was the year I was born, which was 93. But I thought the number 93 had too big of meaning to it, so I decided to go with 2D because I thought there was too big of shoes to fill to put the number 93 on the car.
Reference to Kevin Gobrek.
Yes. There's one guy I never got to. I was at the track. I was probably like 4 or 5, but like I don't have like any vivid memory of him like racing except for tapes. And that's one guy I really wish I could have watched race.
Same.
What about the 90?
I have a very dark past, and the 90 is also related to the number of kids that I have right now. There you go. So now, when I started racing, so I wanted to have a car number that nobody else did. Like, I didn't want to show up and there had to be like the 10T, the 10S, the 10M, like all that stuff. So I actually like legit made a list of like numbers and was like, okay, there's like this number doesn't exist, this doesn't, and like I narrowed it down like that's stupid, and somehow I landed on 90. I was born in 1990, but it has nothing to do with my choice. It's 90, so it doesn't. Yeah. But that's it. So I went back and like there hadn't been a number 90 in local racing, I think, in like 3 decades at that point. So I was like, hey, that's like a number I could have that would be like my own. That's how I picked it.
Kind of enjoy the Jordan Cannon story and better, but okay.
This feels like some like we're about to get into like that deeper meaning of the halftime show last night. Like where are we going with this 90 stuff?
We already did it for Nationals, baby.
I guess
Just because.
I forgot about the drum set, man.
This is the greatest thing I ever bought my kid.
We just bought my kid a set of drums.
Horrible session.
I know.
So just kind of a question for both of you, because we talked about it a little bit last week with the Raymer brothers, and it's been kind of a topic on the show for a while. And just, I think I'm going to kind of make it like my question. Like Chris and Jay-Z have a question, but I think this will be my question for the year is, how do you guys feel about the state of sprint car racing right now? Just not necessarily even like talk, like whatever, but like the racing itself and just the state of the national series, the local series. Just how do you feel about it?
I'll let you start this off.
Oh, gee.
Yeah,
Thanks. I sort of feel like it's at a little bit of a crossroads, to be honest. I think what has happened with High Limit and where the Outlaws are going, I think it's really good from the standpoint that it's driving a lot more money into the sport. There's a lot more eyeballs on our sport with Flow and Dirt Vision and all these other streaming services. In a way, I kind of feel though that like the weekend warrior teams are kind of being I don't say pushed out.
I'll say more pushed out.
It's making it harder to keep going. And like, granted, I'm sure that there were a lot of guys back in the 70s and 80s that, you know, would try and run 20 or 30 times a year and it felt the same way. Mm-hmm. I just know kind of where things have gone from when I first transitioned to 410s to where we are now. And it's certainly not that it was ever easy, but it's not as easy as it was, like using that term relatively. You know, the costs of everything have gone up. Mm-hmm. Tracks have to survive. Race teams have to survive.
Fans got to go to the track.
Fans got to get to the track.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, they only have so much income that can just be thrown away for pleasure. Mm-hmm. So I guess where I'm getting at it is it's making it harder from a financial standpoint, maybe for the smaller teams to keep going. Not all of the purses have maybe been able to follow along the way we wish they should have or could have. Which of course that's kind of our obligation as team owners to offset the costs, but you know, sponsorships harder to come by right now over the last few years with the way the economy's been. And I think specifically sprint car racing, well, like late model racing, dirt track racing, I think there always needs to be a place for the weekend warriors, right? So I would love to get to the point as a driver that we show up at whatever the biggest non-sanctioned race, let's just say Speed Week, right? Like I'd love to know, like, man, I can roll into Speed Week and we have a shot to win the title and we can be in the top 5 every night and we're gonna run top, you know what I mean? Like that's where I would love to get to. But when you look at like what our resources are and how many times a year I can race and all that, like I don't know if I'm ever going to get to that point. Like granted, like I want to get to the point that we can win races on a regular Saturday. That's why we keep coming back to like regular Saturday at Lincoln, because like where we are in our lives right now with our finances for racing and the time we have to put into it, even though we still have the drive for it, like that would be achieving stuff that I think would make both Dylan and I happy. And that's not just Lincoln. Like if we can get to the point that we run the Grove on a regular basis, like to win a regular show at the Grove, like that'd be phenomenal. It's just getting harder and harder to do for the small teams. And the crowd's already sketchy half the time for various reasons, I feel like. And if you drive these small teams out, what are you left with?
Right.
6 cars? 7 cars? Yeah. I'm not going to watch that as a fan. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I feel like there's been so much attention put on to the sport and the big paying races, and that's great. But we also can't lose sight of like what keeps full fields and what keeps the racing going. You know, I know there's this strong thing of like we should time trial every single week, and handicap's the way of the past. Like, well, is it the way of the past, or do people just not want to pass race cars? Trust me, like I don't want to start on the pole. Like that means I suck. Like I don't want to start on the pole. But I would also like to know that, okay, hey, like we don't have the heaviest hitting motor. We're probably not going to time any better than like 15th tonight. Like we're probably not going to be able to come forward and win. Like we're going to try, but like we just don't have the resources for that. And maybe someday we could get there. But when you kind of level things out a little bit and like, hey, like I don't know, like we're starting 4th in a heat race and we pass a car or 2, and now we're starting 5th in a feature. Like, well, hey, and even if we don't win, like those are the opportunities for us to finish in the higher paying positions to help us get down the road the next few weeks. And I don't know, like I don't want to be like, oh man, make it easy. Like this shouldn't be easy, but there just has to be a balance. Yeah. And I feel like lately it's been trending a way that doesn't help small teams. Yeah, 410 racing is the pinnacle of sprint car racing, and I don't think it should be easy to do, but I think there always needs to be a place for the weekend warrior type teams, and there has to be a balance. And I don't know. I don't know what direction it's going to take. I hope we just don't go too far one direction that makes it too hard to come back from.
Yeah. Don't want to go too far in one direction where you take the fun out of sprint car racing and you just make it glorified NASCAR. That's what you don't want to do. Yeah. Like you make I know the prices, but like say you got like a $200 wheel brand new, and then like say stuff's getting more and more eyes and this and that, you want to make it like NASCAR. Hell, that $200 wheel just became $2,000. You know, like with the prices and that. And also the thing I wish tracks can do more is like, of course, like, you know, when people give extra money and this and that for the payouts and stuff like that, you want to, like we want to finish in the top 5. You're going to get the money, but like I hate to say it, but you can't forget about the people that finished 15th to 24th, you know, like, you can go to like, I'm not calling a track out. I'm not going to say, but like, say you're running Lincoln, you know, like, and you're running 19th. Okay. You're running 19th and 8 laps, you're in 8 laps. It's like, okay, like nothing's happening. I'm not passing nobody. Like we're steady. It's like, do I really just want to leave my car out there for the remaining laps? No, I'm going to pull in to save my equipment and this and that. And then you're going to have fans like, you know, criticize everybody like, oh, like there was 24 cars there, but only 15 cars finished and everyone kept pulling in. But like, I think I'm not talking smack on fans. I just think sometimes they don't understand the output of that. I think the cost wise and this and that. Cause like at the end of the day, like not to talk about cost, but we're starting up towards the front. You want to put a new set of tires on, and tires are what, $330, $340 a piece now. Like you're looking at like almost $700 just worth of tires right there, and you're going to burn that off. And I think you got to finish within the top 5 to get the tire money back.
Yeah,
I'm thinking something like that.
I know every track's a little bit different, but I think maybe Lincoln would be like 8th or 9th to offset, you know, just a new set of rear tires. And again, like that's the whole package. Like we, you know, from a funding standpoint and bringing in sponsorship, all of that goes to offset that cost. But then when you look at the wear and tear on the engines and the cost to get to the racetrack,
I think I forget. I think Dalton Dietrich put it up. I think at the end of the day, if you factor everything in, wear and tear on everything, you're literally spending anywhere from $1,100 to almost like $1,800 to take your car out with wear and tear. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, yeah, we can sit here and complain about money, but like at the end of the day, we do want to race. You know what I mean? Like, if you, anything with racing, drag racing, boat racing, and NASCAR, like any type of racing, you're gonna spend the money. Like, it's no question. You're gonna spend the money if you want to race. But it would be nice to show up damn, if we at least make the show, it's $800 to start. Like, okay, cool. We can at least get tire, like that. That'll pay for tires, this and that for next week. You know, like have some more stuff coming back. Like, me personally, if I had like Jordan hit the nail on the head. Like, I do not have like a big ground pounder motor, this and that. Like, we have enough power in this, and I believe that we can be competitive at Lincoln. But I love how at Port Royal they give back to the drivers like this, and I'm not trying to bash any track. You know, I love all the tracks in Central Pennsylvania. I love racing. I love going to the track every weekend. Either though, like, I should stay home some days, you know. But they need to find a way to like help other teams out too, like the small teams. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, they got that Warrior Award. I think is great.
Yes.
I know it's not easy for all tracks to do, but that's something that really sets them apart and really helps those lower teams
exactly.
come back every week.
Like right there, like for example, like you finish, like say you finish 17th there. I don't know the payouts there. Say it's $400, and out of nowhere your number gets called and you get that extra $1,000. Like, hell, like I just broke this, that pays for that, or that pays for the fuel, that pays for more stuff, which is really nice. I like some of these tracks need to, I think need to find ways to be able to do that more.
Right.
And it's like unfortunate, like the early 2000s, this and that, like some tracks did like manufacturer nights, and this and that, and they have new parts, new this, like if you finish this, and I'm not pointing fingers, but it just seems like whoever won them stuff was always the big teams that like already had like, hey, you want a steering box. Yeah, like you want a steering box, and like this guy wanted, like, oh shoot, this guy already had, you know, for a fact he has 4 or 5 of them compared to a small team where they only have one. So like they helped out the smaller teams. That's what I think that'll be the real key to keep the weekend warriors still going.
I guess my follow-up thought to go with it, do you think it's a central PA problem compared to like Ohio or California or like Knoxville? Because it's almost like we try to compete or stay comparable to High Limit and the World of Outlaws at all times, hence the time trial shows, hence things like that. Is that at us the big 3 problem, the Port Royal, Williams Grove, Lincoln problem, or?
I don't think so.
Mm-mm.
No, I think it's way more broad than that. So
like a little bit everywhere.
And I could be wrong when I say this, but I think 410 racing in California is pretty much dead.
Yeah,
maybe it is coming back. Like, I know it got predominantly 360 racing there for a little bit.
Yeah.
Knoxville's sprint car.
Knoxville's very unique. With what they have with the Nationals, and like when you look at like what their regular payout is like, holy crap. But they're in their own little deal. I don't follow like Ohio racing quite enough to know. But like you look at and also at the same point, we're very fortunate with what we have in Central PA. Because like I love going to Western PA. The tracks out there are really cool, but man, I don't know how some of those guys are able to make that work on a weekly basis out there with what they're racing for. So This is not like a Central PA problem. It's just tough. Like, I think it's just an economic problem right now. And how do you? I guess the big picture question is, like, I remember when I was growing up, like it felt like just sitting in the stands on a regular show, like there were way more people there and there was way more attention on sprint car racing. And I think, you know, like everyone's like, well, the track should pay more. Like, the tracks need to bring money in to be able to do that.
Yeah,
so like,
I was just gonna say,
this isn't necessarily like a finger pointing thing. It's just like, what do we do? It's like, how do we get?
We all need each other. We need the fans. The track needs the fans. We need the drivers.
Exactly.
It's
not just a team problem. It's the
It
fan.
goes back
It's
to
the track. Everybody's having the same issue.
Kind of leads me to something that Jay-Z said. You look at like Lincoln or Port Royal or Williams Grove. You talk about every race is a time trial show. I think Lincoln has like a ton through the summertime, and they're all like tribute races. Everything's a tribute and special. None of them are tributes and special. And that's kind of feels like where we've gotten here, at least with the big 3. Every race is trying to be big to draw in fans, but the fans also are now recognizing that It's not that important. It's not the Tuscarora 50. It's not the National Open. It's not the Dirt Classic when that was a thing. Like, it's a weird complex, really.
It's a weird thing to fight because we can sit here as a car owner and a driver, and it's like we're not sitting here as a track owner, like what they got to do to bring fans in, and this, and I can sit here and give my opinion. Like my one thing is, like, if you think about it, like if a family wants to go to the races, like, hell, racing starts at 7, you got time trials right there, it takes a little longer and everything like that. Before you know it, it's hell, the 410 feature ain't starting by 10:30, and by the time you get done, and like you want to go into the pits and say, I remember when I was a kid, I always wanted to go into the pits and say hi to my drivers and stuff like that, and it gets later in the day. So, like, hell, like, one thing, maybe move the start times, instead of pit to get, start at 5. Like, I know it's an hour, this and that, but the thing is, I remember more when I was a kid, like, when the tracks were changing this and that. It's like, oh, we got to do some track prep in between, like, the heat races and the B mains. They were doing more track prep. Like, I remember there being freaking, like, oh my God, like 10 trucks out there trying to run the track in, make it better and this and that. Because you got to think, by 10 o'clock, if you have a newborn to a 5-year-old or something, like, they want to go to bed by 9:30, and you're leaving the track. So right there, it's like, why do I want to take my kids to the track? Like, where I can just go back home and save my money.
It's ultra hard for, like, Wieners Grove. On a Friday, you can't really back the start time up because everyone can't do it. But but again, at the same time, 410 feature ends. By the time the 410 feature ends, and you have whatever feature follows it, all the 410 teams are loaded, staged up at the gate to leave.
They're ready to rock and roll. Yeah, they're ready to rock and roll.
And I don't know how you solve that, because, again, you have to get home, you have to get your shit done for the next day. You get a bad night, you don't want to sit there.
Yeah, it's a never-ending battle.
Right, it's a thing.
And exactly what you said, Chris, and we are guilty of that ourselves at times too. That, like, well, I remember, like, what really got me into racing was walking around the pit area, meeting the drivers, making those connections. Like, from making those connections, I then went from being a fan to being a crew guy, and then, like, that's what started my path to where I am. Right. Well, when the fans don't have access to the pits, either because it's got too late or because we all loaded up, how does that continue to evolve, generation after generation, year after year? And it's just like, what do you do? Like, well, should we all stay open? Like, well, yeah, we should, but then it's also like, we're waiting for 2 more divisions to finish their features, and it's now 1:30 in the morning, and BAPS races tomorrow. Like, it's like, ugh. And that's the kind of thing, like, if we could solve all the world's problems, it'd be great. But I don't know. Like, I think
you don't want to go one division shows because you're not getting value either. Because, like, if you only have one division for a regular show, it doesn't seem value added.
I do wonder if Central PA at least is, like, a little oversaturated with races.
I think so, to some degree.
What if, like, all the tracks took not the same weekend, but take one weekend off a month?
Just work together? You're talking crazy stuff, Jordan. Crazy stuff. Work together? No way in hell. But
what would that do?
I agree, though.
Because I know there was a big, I think it was when Kyle Moody, he's cutting his schedule way back this year. And there was a whole dialogue on Facebook or something, just kind of about this whole conversation of, like, oh, guys are cutting their schedule back. Why is this? And all this stuff. And people got on the time trial versus handicap, and it should be all this or it should be all that. And someone made a comment of, like, well, all the handicap races at Lincoln, there's nobody in the stands. You got to run time trials. And I'm like, bullshit. There's been so many time trial races I've looked at, like you said, that, like, really aren't a special race. And I'm not picking on Lincoln. I'm only saying Lincoln because that's where I race at the most. It's a problem everywhere.
It's just one of the out of my mind. We just same way. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I know, like, even Port has struggled with that, with, like, how do you get people back into the seats and make every night its own event? And you go back to, like, the days of, like, Alan Kreitzer at Silver Spring, and maybe it's just the era is different. Maybe there's too many other things that are trying to get people's attention with, maybe that's
we might be chasing the ghost. We might be chasing something that is no longer attainable.
Yeah.
Like that could be a very real thing, but still.
But I don't know if that would be an option. Like, do we have too many races? I don't know the full breakdown of the finances behind streaming, of like what percentage goes to the tracks, what does what. You just look at like what you had to pay to get into the stands for 20 races at Port, right? What is it? Even when it was $10, you know what I mean? That's $200 over the course of a year. You just spent $149 for flow, and you see everything. Plus all you like that. The economics of that just never made sense to me, and I always thought that like
if the at-track experience is not far superior to what you could sit at home and the convenience of sitting at home, then yeah, you're going to lose fans in the stands. Naturally, unless your hardcore fan wants to come into the pits or do something there, or someone like us who's just hardcore. If you're a casual, I don't think you're making that effort.
I don't think so. So I don't know. Do you look at is there an opportunity in there that maybe you race a little bit less? Are there opportunities to lower admission costs just a little bit? Hey, you don't have 35 options to come see a race this year. You have 18, and we're like, our big shows are our big shows, and you want to be here for this because it's 20 grand to win, it's 40 grand to win, it's the All-Stars, it's the Outlaws, it's High Limit. But on our regular Saturday night, you get bang for your buck. This is what you got. You got 410s, you got 358s, you got whatever the division is. I don't know. I wish I had the answers. I'm sure everyone does. But it feels like there's a lot. There's just a lot going on now, and I don't know.
In this area, it feels a little bit of, and I know I'm guilty of it. Jimmy, you're guilty of it. We're all guilty of it. A little snob behavior. It's 410s or bust.
Yeah.
For definitely Williams Grove. If they don't have 410s and 358s, no one gives a shit. Lincoln's a little bit different in that way. Port Royal has the late models, which draw a decent bit. But outside of that, no, it's 410s or bust. And we're all snobbish in that way, and we're guilty of it. But if you could promote these other divisions, the sportsman division, the 58 division, or whatever, maybe you could have tracks have off nights for, like, say, 410s, but do other racing.
Clearly. Yeah, that's what I was.
And that's kind of like they can still make money for the people that follow them if they promote those divisions.
And not just that, you could, those divisions, they don't necessarily have as high of a purse, so you could lower the admission.
Cheaper.
Get families out there, make it like a family night, and you could have 3 divisions, and you're still not paying the same purse as you are for 10, and it gives those guys exposure, as the main events for that night, while all the 410s maybe go somewhere else. Yeah, you have to compete with that, but I don't know. It's a tough.
I mean, Clinton County's
balance, man.
Clinton County's done it perfectly. They capitalize on the 2 weekends a year that every track basically shuts down for Kings Royal and Knoxville. And it's not crazy expensive to get in. It's a fun place. They do a good job of what they have. It's fun to go there and see race cars in probably the purest form that we're used to, because they're just now adding grandstands in. It's just like one concession stand. Basic as hell. But the racing is good. It's so unique. And they don't try to extend. They have sprint cars every week, 305s. They're not competing with anybody. They just do their own deal. And George was talking about that in the chat. And they have a lower admission, and it's
to get in. That's
and that's, you're gonna have your racers. And I get why you can't have the 410 teams hanging around. But I remember Keith Kaufman driving a Millsworth car. He used to sit there with a box of Millsworth chips after the races, so kids come up and get chips. I had him sign a bag. He thought it was the coolest thing ever. His eyes were bloodshot from flipping his dick off. Like, and he's still sitting there with his crushed up race car and a box of Millsworth chips.
Handing them out.
Right. And I still have that autographed bag somewhere. It's all bloated and probably green inside, but still. I don't know if there's a middle ground.
I think the biggest, a key place to start would be the length of the shows. And and the Grove's great at it. Like you even said, like the Grove's kind of stuck because they can't back their time up, but like they're efficient. And there's a lot of nights that the 410 feature is over and like it's not completely dark outside yet.
Yeah, that makes me mad.
In the middle of summer, that's almost 9 o'clock, but still, if I feel like every track should make it that the headline event is over by 9 o'clock and have your second feature over by 9:30. Because I would have no problem hanging in the pits for an hour plus every week. And like, let's pack the pits every week. But when the 410 feature is ending at 11:30,
right?
And that's where it gets hard because like we both have families now. Like we go to the car wash, we do this, like that. It's just all part of it. And when these races end at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, whatever it is, like, we're not getting back to the shop till 3. None of the other guys in the pits are either. The people that came in the stands and are still there, they just want to go home.
Right.
Like, I think the biggest thing is just show efficiency, and whatever it takes to make that happen. Like, if it's track officials, you know, running the program in the pit area like drill sergeants, so be it. Like, get out there, get staged, and force it. Like, I'm all for whatever that looks like, because I know whenever you run an outlaw show, man, they are like,
they're on it.
No one's better than the World of Outlaws as far as like organization of an event. It's like, get out here, get lined up, and that's just like the schedule of the event, race control, all of it. And how many times, like, if it's even on a weeknight or like if we ran out and you're watching an outlaw show, I know they might be in the Midwest or the West Coast, but like wherever they're racing that time, it's kind of
done before. They're so done before we are. Like,
Yeah.
I've already watched outlaw features during the heats at Williams Grove, so for whatever reason. But I think the only workaround, without keeping you all there all night, is more of that pre-race. Have that hour or so pre-race where fans come in the pits.
Yeah.
Plus, do it early enough where it's not impacting. Now, it would require the teams and drivers to get there a little bit earlier, which for Williams Grove, probably not an option. But that might be the only workaround short term. That's a quick band-aid. But I know my daughter loved it. We went in there last year at Williams Grove. And then you get this, everyone's alert. No one's pissed off yet. You didn't even race yet. You have your car there. You're ready to go. Like, that's the only thing I can think of. It's a workaround that be a compromise.
The other thing I would wonder, and I feel like half the people would burn the places down if they tried this, but like, what would happen if we ran the 358 feature first some weeks?
I think it would be better racing at Williams Grove.
Yeah. Like, you know, obviously track conditions going to play a big part in that. And, you know, do you need to rework the track every week? Not always. It's a tough thing, but I would be really curious if you really focused on like, okay, let's just say on a Saturday night, whatever track it is, like it's not just a Lincoln thing. So let's just say Port Royal, put them both in the same category. You're two divisions. You set the program up so the second division is like the headliner, so to speak, and hot laps are on the track at 6. Heat races start at 6:30. There's really a minimal intermission. Run the 358s first, the late models, get the 410s, get us done by 9:30. Get us done by 9:30. Try it.
Unique.
And if it doesn't work, go back. Like, okay, we tried, we failed, but try.
There's no reason why it wouldn't work. It's going to draw exposure to those divisions as well. Because you're going to be no one's going to leave before the 410s come out.
Yeah, no.
Yep.
Because
so they're going to sit there and they're going to watch. They're going to learn something.
Yeah, normally when the 410 shows over by Lincoln, like the whole crowd's left and there's probably just family members in the stands.
Yeah.
I think Lincoln did try that one time. The 358s did run the feature first. I think that was like 3 years ago. They gave it a shot. I think it was the very first race of the season. So, you know, everyone's trying to get the rust out. And unfortunately, there was like 3 reds and like so many yellows, and they didn't give us another shot at that time. Yeah, I think I was one of them, you know. So but like, yes, I think it would be nice. Like, you know, like I can agree with Jordan. It's like, like let the say for example, it's 358s and 410s. Like, let the 358 feature go first. You know what I mean? It's like you're gonna go watch a UFC fight. Are you gonna watch all the other fights if they let the main fight happen first? No.
Right.
You know, that's.
And it gives all that exposure to the undercard.
Yeah, exactly.
I could be wrong on this. I think that's how Knoxville does their regular Saturdays. I'm pretty sure the 305 features first, then 360, then 410, and they seem to have no problem getting over at a decent time.
Yep.
Yeah, I believe that's true. Unless there's weather in the area, they might swap it. But yeah.
Yep.
That's understandable. If there is weather moving, like, hey, we got to get the big guys done first. I think it'd be
especially big for Williams Grove because usually that's a small. Both divisions have a smaller field. And they get done pretty quick. So tell somebody, Jordan. How important we are.
Trust me, a lot of us try and say a lot of different things, and you know, and I'm sure if we all put ourselves in, you know, in the position of these promoters and track owners, it wouldn't be, you know, we would understand more, you know. But I think like one thing that NASCAR has actually done really well the last few years is stepping outside the box. And no matter what you do, people are going to complain, like on social media. So just like, don't even look. You know, like you can be like, we are going to give every fan that walks in the gate $500.
Jordan doesn't answer his messages.
That's why.
He doesn't even look at that shit.
But try it. Like, I'd be willing as a driver, as a team owner, or whatever. Like, I'd be all for like let's give that a shot. And maybe it doesn't work, and then we go back. But try some stuff, and can we speed the show up? Can we get people back in the stands? Are there ways that we can do things to try and like just prop local racing up a little bit more, and all work together to do it.
Make it grow.
Because if the tracks are successful and the fans are coming and they're supporting it, that means that we can be successful, collectively as race teams and keep this sport going.
And we're all just having more fun. And before I let Jay-Z go rogue, someone did say your sprint car sign is great behind you, Jordan.
So what they should have done is come to the Orwig Motorsports party. And this was a raffle item, and it was not rigged. I won it.
You did win.
I bought the tickets.
Jay-Z and I saw it.
Now this is starting to feel like one of those
kind of one of those chief
things
rigs things
that everyone starts to talk about. But no, that was there, and I think there's probably a good chance there could be one like it there next year because you have connections.
Exactly.
So yeah.
I just don't know why you didn't turn it on. I want to see it light up.
It is on. It's just like with the light here, so that we don't look like
it's very dim.
Yeah,
it was just playing like the Chiefs.
It looks really cool. Like with the lights off, it looks really cool.
All right, Jay-Z, welcome to the show, Jay-Z. I'm
Yeah,
glad you can join us.
Welcome in.
Speaking of dim, I'm here.
You came in the fourth quarter. Good job, Patty Mahomes.
I just want to, before Jay-Z goes, I just want to get to a couple comments here as we're talking about the whole state of sprint car thing. There were a couple good comments here. James says Jeremy Elliott said the same thing. Too many races at the same time. They should cut back. Jordan Givler definitely hitting the nail on the head. Hey, Mr. Wood says Clinton County packs every Friday night with $10 to $12 gate for division show. One of them 305s with their own fans. Matthew Bird asked, do you think races should have time limits to keep the time down?
That's a tricky subject.
That would be really hard to do.
Lincoln did that last year.
They could try, but like you said, like if there's like say there's 3 reds, like they want to call the race after 3 laps, someone forcing issues, like that's kind of
not fair.
That's kind of a double-edged sword right there to try to do. Like I think it's kind of hard. It'd be nice because I do remember going home after like at 3 o'clock in the morning and after a rain delay one time way back in the day.
Yeah, that's a tough can of worms. So I know Lincoln tried last year to speed the programs up, and I think there were a couple times where they implemented the time limit.
Yeah, it didn't
I don't know.
I don't think it worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and hey, Mr. Wood also says also not waiting for drivers would be a big help. Bring back the Silver Spring 3-minute light bulb sign.
I don't know what that was, but I'm all for a light bulb sign. I don't know. Before my time.
I was there for a little. I don't have no memory. I just remember going to the concession stands and getting poison ivy somehow. And I don't have really no racing vivid memory of Silver Springs. I wish I did. I heard that place was really, really awesome. And yeah, well, it sucks that it's a Target.
Target and Wegmans, yeah.
Something like that. It's sad. Like
Chris works at that Wegmans.
No, just like when I think our Silver Springs basically Trailways, like because when Trailways went down. So
Ron Rutherford says, and the tracks will also benefit because they'll sell more food, etc. Talking about running the 410s last. Steve Topper says doesn't matter at the Grove because the 410s guys can't leave the infield anyway, which is a great point.
I'm about to say the one thing with that, I did go to a race not last year but the year before. I've been going ever since I was a little kid, and it was just a regular night. There was a little bit of rain, and they literally moved all the 410s back in the back pits.
Yep.
And you sit in the stands, this and that, but like where my family, we always stood, where my Uncle John stood, we always stood right there in the infield, coming into one and going out of 2. We were basically by 2. I could never have saw the entire racetrack with everything in there. And I thought it was so cool seeing them start. Like you can see all the action coming down the front stretch. Normally, like everyone's in the pits and this and that, and you're just all right. You hear the rumble, you hear everybody coming. All right, where's everybody at? Who's in the lead? And you gotta wait till them to come into one. Like I don't know, maybe the Grove gotta get the moldy money out and just mow down the back pits, make the back pits like one big area, and just do what Port does. Like you can literally stand in the infield at one spot and just do a 360, and you can watch the whole race. And like that one race at the Grove was like, wow, like I wish you can see the whole thing from the infield, especially when the Outlaw Nights are here. Like you have, like, don't get me wrong, you have all the T-shirt trailers there. That's you know, that's part of it. But like you're normally watching them come into one, and you're just looking down to see if they're going down the backstretch, and that's it. And you're waiting to see what happens.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, I can fix that. You can fix that by just sitting in the stands, but like just move the pits to the back pit area. I think that'd be something to. I don't know. I know it probably costs. I think it'd be something to look into for fan wise.
Selinsgrove did it, and I thought because there's even times at Selinsgrove where you couldn't even see the entire track from the stands when they had, you know what I mean. But then they opened up the infield there at Selinsgrove, and it's great. You can watch the entire thing from the micro track on the inside, and it's awesome. I think it's so much better that way.
The other thing, just to be a devil's advocate with Mr. Topper here real quick. So if you flip-flop the 358 and the 410 features, we wouldn't have the opportunity to already have the car ready for the car wash and loaded to get into the car wash. Again, like, we are to blame somewhat as teams too. But you know, when you're racing on Saturday night, everyone wants to like, let's get this whole thing going. Like, we got work to do. If you run 358s first, 410 pits would be open as soon as the 410 feature was over. So fans could be going to the pits as Victory Lane is happening. And we're all there for 30 minutes, tearing the cars apart, you know, getting ready to wash. We're all accessible during that time. So it could be something to try.
Yeah.
You know, Williams Grove probably couldn't do anything now, but on the shows where it's just 410s, they can fit almost all of them in the back pits if it's 50 cars, right? So they may not be able to solve that this year. You get two divisions, they got to use the back pits now. But even, let's say it's an outlaw show and they move just about everybody back there. How much more visibility would there be? Think about the time trial efficiency, pushing them all off instead of moving around, splitting the pit, moving this and that. Like, there's a lot of benefit from it, and they can expand that and then put everybody back there. You know, I get it. If you get 100 cars total, you may need to use the front stretch a little bit, but put them down in turn one, leave them from 3 and 4 right to the start finish. Leave it as empty as you can. Fill in down in turn one if you have to, if you're gonna, because we're the bulk of the infield fans, mostly down the backstretch, right? Yeah. Bulk of them. Not to say that to take it away from the people in 1 and 2, but the smallest trailers down in 1 and 2, everybody else out back on the single division shows, and you have all this visibility, and you only have a few cars to move back and forth for time trials. Not splitting the field, then run them all back around. You know, there's a lot of time wasted there. And the multi-division shows, I don't know if there is a solution for the Lincoln Speedway. You know, I put a little bit in your hands too as drivers. They wave the green flag for hot laps and you all idle around for 45 seconds to a minute every damn time before anybody gets on the fucking gas. Like, figure it out. What are we waiting for? Waiting for the next car so you have a little bit cleaner air so you can put a nice lap up on the board? It's all going to change in 20 minutes when you're in the heat anyway. Just go. Just freaking go. What are you waiting for? And every session, every time, 358s, 410s, we sit there and green flag's out. We're all standing there for 45 seconds to a minute. Add that up over time, and then we push out, and then we idle around. Come on, guys. You're just as much to blame as anybody else is. So add it all up over the course of a night between the track screwing around, doing whatever they want to do, inefficiencies, you know, trying to push you all off into pits for hot lap or for heating the motor, and the cars won't start because the damn the tire, it just slides across the pit lane. It adds up, right? And it adds up to 11:30, and you get a couple red flags, which is part of racing. I'm not going to be upset that the time went on because of racing incidents. Like, but let's not screw around in the rest of this shit. Figure it out, right? And there's a lot to go around. I stand there watching some nights, and I'm just like, what are we doing? What am I doing? What is happening, right? So that's just a couple of the recent topics. I don't know. I just jumped in late, but
I definitely think, especially like at Lincoln on a 2-division show, because we're all sprint cars, and you've got over 70 cars. I'd be like, a lot of us, we all have engine heaters. We can get our stuff hot. Let's do engine starts a half hour earlier.
Yeah.
Because even like, not even, they can be as efficient as they possibly can. It just takes a long time to push start 70 sprint cars. Sure. Let's do engine starts at 5:45. Get it done, throw the engine blanket on, and then go out and hot lap. At least it'll be a start.
I think that's something that High Limit did last year. They started their stuff early. They were pretty efficient, and I thought they ran some of the best shows in all the country last year. I think a lot of tracks around here could maybe learn a little bit from that. Like you're saying, they start their engine. Yeah, it's 5 o'clock, but like they still were able to get fans in the pits. They were able to do a lot of different things and get shows done by 10 o'clock. And I think that's awesome.
There's nights at Lincoln. It's a time trial show. The first heat doesn't go off till 8:30.
Yeah.
The first heat. It's a time trial show, meaning they started time trials at 7. The first heat didn't go till 8:30. Like, what are we doing for an hour and a half? What did we just do? Right? And I don't care. It's fine for single car time trials. I'm okay with it. I've always thought Lincoln, no matter what you do, should be 2 cars at a time at least. Every track should be 2 cars. Maybe the smallest of the small, but an hour and a half for time trials, heat or hot laps, and then time trials. Like, it's just something is wrong, right? Think of that. If you have all those cars, your first heat is until 8:30, and you have 100 cars in the pits. Your night's already going to be 11:30.
Yeah.
If it goes
well, and eliminate time trials altogether, just do pill draw.
Pill draw or something. But then that kind of comes back to the whole thing of like trying to make every week a special show that every week's not a special show.
Timed hot laps.
Whatever. Yeah.
Timed hot laps. I think it's not everybody loves it. I get it. But if you have all those cars, timed hot laps, 4 or 5 at a time, just like BAPS does it, it's done. It's over with.
And if you want to handicap it in a way too, with that, have the quick time pull pill and determine an invert for the heat races. Then. You know what I mean? You could do anywhere from 2 to 6 or whatever. And just you could do it that way, and then nobody knows. Nobody could sandbag.
And what I'm saying that time trials for a show that isn't special is silly. Like, stop it. If it's the Outlaws, it's High Limit, it's the All Stars, I'm okay. I'm okay with time trials. Take my time. I paid my money. I spent my night. I'm here. It's a weekly night. It's a weekly show, right? Not every show is special. And you want to do time trials, it better be 3 or 4 cars at a time, or you're wasting my time. Why? Why are we doing that? They're doing it to ourselves. I love being at the racetrack, but come on, man. Like, yikes. Let's get it moving.
Yeah. I think I found my question finally. Chris and Jay-Z have always had a question, and I think I finally found my question. So that's what started this entire conversation, was just
yes, what the state of sprint car racing is.
What's your opinion on the state of sprint car racing?
And then we just kind of went off the rails into the weeds.
So, do you guys want to ask your questions?
Jordan already answered my question.
Yeah, but what about Dylan?
Dylan, what race do you most want to win if you could pick?
Well, here in PA or anywhere?
Any race you want to win, sir.
I gotta say the Tuscarora 50. I think that would be awesome. I think a close. I don't know, man. I just growing up in PA, like it's close. National Open, that'd be awesome too. But something with the 50, I just think, or hell, like even just looking at the trophy for the Weicker, I think that fucking bullhead would be cool to put up on the shelf somewhere. Like, I think that would be that'd be awesome. But if I could throw it in there too for the I never thought I would race or have a 410 operation, but I thought it'd always be kind of. I can't remember what track it was, but it's a 360 race out west, and if you won, they would literally bring out a bear, like a grizzly bear, and put it on your right rear, and
I saw that shit.
I can't think of the track. I think Sam Heppertine, if I'm saying his last name right, I can't say his last name, but the 15 car, I think he won it 1 year and he put the bear on there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was
straight up
cool.
grizzly bear. It comes out with the trophy and you have to like stand next to it. I want to say it was someplace like Wisconsin. It goes so many crazy ass people.
If I could win if I could have done that race too right there, I would have stand right next to that bear. I would. That would have been so cool. I think to try to get a bear hug.
But crazy. Confirmed.
Yeah, but I gotta say the 50. I think the 50 would be, especially now. What I think this year, I think it's 3 nights, right?
Yeah,
I think
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
I think so.
Yeah, well, Weikert's 3 nights now, and
the Weicker. Okay, sorry. I got
both are 3 nights. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but no, and I'll just say that for PA. But fuck it, I'll just say sorry for cussing. By the way, my fault. But you got to put Knoxville out there. You got to put the Knoxville National out there. You have to. Like that whole week of racing right there. Like if you would win that would be a pinnacle. Like that's your career. Either that or the Kings Royal. Like, that's the top 2 outside of PA in my opinion.
that Weichert to me is really gaining a lot of momentum as being the race, because the Bullhead was cool, and then it was 75 grand to win this last year.
Mhm.
Like the winnings, adding to the winnings and the Bullhead makes that. I mean, if that continues, that's going to rival the Tuscarora 50 national, and it can get into that category in really short order, because not everybody wanted to win it before. Now it's 75 grand and a Bullhead.
Mhm.
And
Right.
it's really the earliest like big money
Big
race
race.
in the country for
Oh,
the
yeah.
year. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
the first big one.
Yeah, agreed. They all wait till summer, late summer to run those, and month of money and all that, the story. But in May, 75 grand, whew, talk about a boost to your season already, right? Early on. So,
Mhm.
Dylan, first time we've had you on, I've had Jordan on a couple times. We've asked him, but people you've raced with your career, somebody you loved racing
Jordan's
with,
answer changed now.
somebody you've loved racing around. It's always been a good time. You've always enjoyed it. And then somebody who you do not enjoy racing around. One of each.
I think the one person I did enjoy. I'm not trying to be biased, but the one person I enjoyed racing around. I did enjoy racing around Steve Owens and Jeff Roball, because like running trailways and linking against them. I thought it was pretty neat. This and that, and I just wanted to be as good. I remember one time at Lincoln, I had my crew chief Jeff Deffenbaugh. Like, he's like, all right, try to follow somebody and learn. This was my second year running 358s, and I had Steve Owens in front of me. So I decided to try to follow his line, this and that, try to mimic what he did and try to run the same way. And it was just amazing on what he can do in that 35 car. Like, I was just amazed. And the other guy, like I said, was Jeff Roball. Just watching him run when I was a little kid and racing against my dad and stuff like that. And I got to race against him, which was pretty awesome. And somebody I didn't like, I don't want to say names or start them, but
I know, say names.
Yeah, say names. Say names. But all right, I'll just say. Well, I had one.
You're not even in the car anymore, Dylan.
Yeah, I'm not even in the car. Well, I had one incident. I couldn't stand him. I had one incident at Trailways, and he said I cut him off, and I know I didn't cut him off, and this and that. And he came to my car and tried to rip me out of my cockpit, and I just wanted to punch David Holbrook in the face so bad. Like, I didn't care. I didn't care for him, and just like I never talked to him beforehand, but maybe I talked to him now. Probably a different story. But
is he done? I haven't seen him in a couple of years.
I don't know. I hadn't seen him lately. He was always a Trailways guy.
Yeah.
And maybe he just don't like coming to Lincoln. I don't.
Well, he ran Lincoln after Trailway ended. He ran Lincoln a couple years, but definitely a guy that drives.
But he had I don't know. I like, not against him. I just feel like me and him we're always at the wrong place, wrong time, and yeah, that was the first time I wanted to punch somebody. So. Like, he tried to all I asked was like, dude, just wait till I get out the car and we can talk. But he wanted to try to grab me in the car, and then my uncle got involved and this and that, and I'm just like okay, here we go. So I'm gonna get kicked out of my the third race of the year at Trailways. So here we go. But it's pretty interesting. But I don't know, I can talk about more, but I don't know if I want to bring them up. So
I basically established whatever you bring up, it's not going to be Jordan's fault, but it's going to be his problem. So,
any 358 stories you got, go for it.
There's a couple.
Jordan, I'd imagine yours is still a national open favorite race that you want to win. Billy Kimmel Memorial.
Yeah, I would say so. Every race we enter is the race I want to win, but yeah, now I would say Billy's race would definitely be top of the list for many reasons.
No doubt.
Do you have a new most hated driver to race with, or no?
You made me say names, so there you go.
I'll just stick to Brett Strickler again, right? That's why
I hate racing with him too in cartoon land, so I don't blame you.
That wasn't the obvious choice, but I'm just gonna stick with Brett because it's easy.
Makes sense. I get it.
Good job, Jordan. Good job, Jordan.
We want to thank you guys for sitting down and spending. We got you here almost an hour and a half now, so we really appreciate you guys hanging out with us, talking with us. We really wish you the best of luck this year. First, let's talk. I'm going to bring the car up, talk about your paint scheme a little bit, and then talk about some of the sponsors that are going to get you guys to the track this year.
You want me to go?
Yeah, sure.
All right. But no, we decided to combine. Like my aunt Tracy, she does she puts together the fundraiser that we do every year and this and that. So we decided we put her on the hood and everything like that. But the color scheme, I always loved orange and black. Every team, every sport I did, it was always orange and black. And my favorite team, Cincinnati. So I decided to stick with the orange and black. And I did wanted to throw the mint in for Jordan, but it didn't really match with the WTBD logo, so we decided to throw blue. And I think the blue pops.
It does.
And we decided to we obviously brought some of Jordan sponsors along too, and this and that, and we sat down for a good week to be able to place everybody. Like this is our first year with Credit Connection. Dane, he's a really good job. He's my new pappy, so I make fun of him. He takes care of us. My Uncle Brian, he's on the center of the front wing with Orwig's flooring. He yells at me all the time because he spends so much money on me because I'm a son he never had. So he keeps doing that. He's always helpful. We have my buddy Chris Ness with Imperial Designs, and I can't forget about my buddy at Match Junk Removal. Like he's just tickled to death to be a part of a car. So all the work is, like I said, like all my sponsors I mainly have are family, and it's just a small mom and pop team, and we're just trying to keep up with the big dogs. That's what we're trying to do.
And then I think Freedom Off Road and Walter Loudermilk are new to both of our deals this year. And then we've got Water Treatment by Design, Tim Piper State Farm, and Vector Industries coming over from what you typically saw in the 90 car that are following me along to help us keep racing collectively. And a couple other people, Brian Arnold, Rick Mitchell, Orwig's Fine Finishing.
And my dad, I can't forget
about that. Figure that.
He's going to be mad at me.
No, just a collective effort here to make this car go in circles.
I love this. This picture is great, but if you go to Motorama this week, go check this car out and just get to the track this year and check it out because it's really there's like a little design in the orange there and it really makes it all pop. It looks really good. So fantastic job with the wrap. It looks great.
Shout out to Lakeside.
Yeah, Zach did a really good job with that.
All right, guys. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. We wish you guys the best of luck this year, and sorry about your loss for the Chiefs, man.
He's not sorry, not even a little bit.
He's not sorry.
I will continue to look at the 3 Super Bowl champion hats and shirts and find a way to survive. But
maybe someday you can look at the 6 that I get to look at.
Yeah, but it's been
at least you all got something to look at.
It's been a little while now.
The Eagles are the dynasty killers. We killed the Patriots dynasty. We killed the Chiefs.
No, you're not killed. Now. We won the Super Bowl the year after you beat us with your scumbagness.
Still stopped the three-peat twice.
Whatever.
Let's go.
You did, right. You did, and all props to the Eagles, man. They showed up ready to play yesterday, and you can't deny that. So by far the best team won, and probably the best team of the entire season won without a doubt. So well deserved.
Yeah, at least they didn't let the rest get involved. That's for sure. All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining us, and good luck this year.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for having us.
That was fun. Jay-Z, nice for you to join us here. But that was fun. Always fun having Jordan on. It was cool to get to know Dylan too. And I think that's going to be a great relationship here in the 2025 and hopefully beyond. I really like what they got going on there, and really gives both of them a chance to shine, I think. So really, the only other thing we got is World of Outlaws kicked off their season, and with 4 races down in Volusia. So let's just go over those results really quick here. Your 4 winners. Wednesday night was a non-points race. It was just the first race. They used to do just kind of like just be basically hot lap sessions on Wednesday night, but now they made it an actual race. It just doesn't count towards points. Carson Macedo broke a tibia and all that he's still healing from, hobbling around, laid all 25 laps and wins a good one here on Wednesday night. I was really impressed with him, considering how recent that injury is. I mean, you could still see he's hobbled, and Kind of got tight in the car when he got out. Beats David Gravel and Kyle Larson, who moves up 7 positions. Logan Schuart 4th. Brad Sweeten 5th, moving up from 16th. Donnie Schatz was the hard charger from 21st to 8th. Just Anthony Macri with the top 10. Justin Peck with the top 10, continuing his strong start of the season. Any thoughts from Wednesday night that you guys saw?
Rosito sends a message early. He's going to be a problem this year for David Gravel in his title defense.
Thursday night was a popular night here in Posse Land as Christopher Bell gets in the 69K and goes and wins on Thursday night after Emerson Axum, who led 17 laps here. He was out there. Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson were catching him, but he was getting through lap traffic decent. And then in the bottom of 3 and 4, he kind of just looped it. Allows Christopher Bell to hold off Kyle Larson on a late race restart, who Kyle Larson was the better car right at the end. But Christopher Bell did everything he could and brought home the win by less than a tenth of a second, 0.05 seconds over Christopher Bell, getting that 69K a gator. How about that one?
Does it before Larson gets a gator.
Well, wouldn't be for long.
About 24 hours before him, I guess.
Not first or last.
So that night was Bell, Larson, Logan Schuart, another podium run. He ran well all week. David Gravel, Brad Sweet, Bill Baylog with 6th place finish. Donnie Schatz, Justin Peck, another top 10. Tyler Courtney and Ryan Timms all in the top 10 there. Anthony Macri finished 16th. I think that was all. Oh, Brock Zierfoss finished 22nd for Posse guys. Friday night, Kyle Larson gets his first gator over Christopher Bell by 1.6 seconds. Leads all 25 laps of this. He was fast all week. Obviously, just it's Kyle Larson, but he was not complaining, but saying, hey, we don't really have speed at half miles, which I think is wild. I don't feel like a guy who's won Knoxville now multiple times, and you know what I mean? Like, he wins at half miles, but I guess they struggled at Volusia, considering he's never won at Volusia until this night here. David Gravel 3rd, Brad Sweet, Ryan Timms top 5, Carson Macedo, Bill Baylog another top 10, Logan Schuart another top 10, Sheldon Hodenshield, and Danny Sams with an impressive 10th place finish. Made the dash in this one. Started 3rd, ran really well. He ran well most of the week, so really encouraging out of him. Brock Zierfoss 25th, Anthony Macri with a DNF 26th. Logan Schuart was the hard charger. And then rounding it out on Saturday night, Kyle Larson brings it home. Another win, back-to-back wins, leads 26 out of 30 laps over Logan Schuart, 2nd place, David Gravel 3rd, Carson Macedo, Tyler Courtney, Ryan Timms, Donnie Schatz, Buddy Koford, Parker Price Miller, and Justin Peck, another top 10. Brock Zierfoss in 11th, and Anthony Macri in 25th with another DNF. So bad way to end the week for Macri after he was pretty much a top 10 car all week. Looked really good, but Kyle Larson, back-to-back wins, brings home I believe he won the overall week title.
He got the big gator.
Logan Schuart, though, great way to start the season off for him. Hard charger on Friday night, but he was up near the podium all week long. And it looks like it's going to be a dogfight between Carson Macedo and David Gravel, to be honest. Those guys are right next to each other again, just kind of like Peck. And Justin Peck just was a guy that really turned my eye, just because he is really continuing what we saw from the 360 week last week. He's continuing that here against the World of Outlaws. We'll see what happens when we go away from Volusia. But yeah, just a great week for him. What did you guys take away from this week?
I take away Logan Schuart's not to be slept on this year. He won quick time on Saturday, which I think they said was the first time since July 14th of 2023. Overall quick time, and he probably should have won on Saturday if he could have got in the rubber a little bit quicker. Kind of took some rubber. He had a down year last year. I think he's one of those guys that if he can keep being consistent. We know he can pass cars. We've seen him do it at Knoxville, outdoor, wherever else. If he can qualify up front and pass cars, he's going to be a problem for Gravel and Macedo all year.
Yeah, I agree. Logan Schuhart was sort of the story for me. Quick time, speed, consistency. Even the night that, he didn't start up front, he passed cars and ended up there. So, like, we saw those flashes last year at times, obviously not enough even in their eyes, but to start off the season this strong at a track that, he's had moments at, but consistently every night, really, really good sign for what the season could hold. Larson, took him all of 2 nights to figure it out. Gets the big gator. They basically, and they were talked about it since about July of last year. They've been lights out with the sprint car. It took them a while last year to get going, and everybody kind of was like, oh, whatever. You go back and look at some of the results from July of last year through now when they've started. They've been very efficient in the win column. So, I think there were a lot of flashes of people. Danny Sams. The last 2 nights there, Ryan Timms looked really good. Emerson Axum had speed.
Yep.
All right, up and down for some others, but for the most part, it's the guys you expected kind of to see there. But Logan Schuhart for me was sort of the standout.
Yeah, the other side of that was just the struggles of Donnie Schatz all week. We call them struggles, but still, there's 7th. Just he had to work extra hard. It felt like all week long and have things his way.
I think that kind of piggybacks off of what he had to do last year. He had to come
seems like he's working.
He was like hard charger a lot last year. He's always having to
not time trialing.
Yeah, just
it's
not
so weird. Donnie Schatz.
I thought one of the other storylines was Bill Balog. He ran really well. He started 3rd in Saturday night's feature, had a bad wreck. Luckily, he's okay. Sounds like he was kind of sore. And they get a little bit of time here to get things back together and to get back out here. Luckily, they have a little bit of time, but he was running really well. Had a lot of really good, results, and looked really fast. And just continuing off that momentum he built with the Outlaws rookie season he had last year. And Danny Sams also was another one that really kind of turned heads. He was up there in the dash a couple times and just was up there. You know what I mean? It was kind of the same drivers up there all week long. It's just kind of like whoever was there on Wednesday was kind of there the rest of the week. Just good for some, bad for others.
And they go back there in 2 weeks? For 2
they go
2 or 3 weeks, I think.
It's in March. It's during bike week, so we got about it's like 3 weeks or so. I think that's the next time that they race too. I don't think they race in between. So
crazy. The next 410 race in the United States is at Lincoln.
It'll be the icebreaker, yeah.
Hopefully,
in theory. Good stuff.
Jordan Givler does have a website, by the way. I had this pulled up before. JordanGivler.com.
All of his merch is not accurate.
Yeah, he has sales and stuff here, but your probably best bet is to reach out to him on social media, on Facebook probably, through his Acceleration Motorsports page, and get through him that way. But he does have a website. He wasn't sure if he still had the website, but he does.
Is it called JordanGivler.com?
It is JordanGivler.com.
I'm glad he knew that.
So. Yeah. So, just nice to get talking about racing again. I want to thank Jordan and Dylan again for joining us. I'm really excited to see what that whole partnership can bring. I think it's good for everybody all around, and they seem really excited. And I think they're gonna, turn some heads this year. I really do. Go through a couple comments here. Everybody's pretty hype about the 69K winning. It was pretty cool. Personally, I don't know what it is. I'm just not personally a huge Christopher Bell fan. I'm not really sure why. But it was cool to see him. It's just kind of blew my mind, him in the 69K. And he'll be back. He'll be back in that car when High Limit goes to Vegas. So we'll get to see him and Larson. That's the way that they're kind of billing it. high limit is. Them two go against each other again. They have a pretty fun rivalry going on. So, yep, the photo finish between Bell and Larson on Thursday. A lot of people talking about Danny Sams, and Emerson Axum. Those were two guys. Randy says Gio and Hod non-existent. That's true. Gio and Buddy were two that were like they were in like the B main or just kind of like they were there but not really. But Gio really struggled all week. Hod and Shield was up and down, just kind of what you expect from him. But I was more shocked by Gio being non-existent than anything. And then yeah, let's quick drink it, dump it. Matthew Bird says, "Drink it, drink it." Successful night 2 for you boys. Welcome to the Outlaws to the 2025 season over the past weekend. Icebreaker next week. Can't wait. And dump it for Baylog for his health. Hope I wish him a speedy recovery. Which one do you guys want to go?
Jay-Z wants to go.
All right. Yeah, I'll. You know what? It's man. I'll drink it to the 69K team. Right off the porch. They've had other drivers in that car, and it's won a lot. Very cool to see them at Volusia and get a win at Volusia, no matter the driver. Right? I think that's pretty cool. Hopefully, they didn't hurt whatever they hurt too bad. That it doesn't, threaten the rest of this traveling that they're doing. So. Very cool to see that for sure. Dump it, Bill Baylog, man, that guy only wrecks big. It seems like when he wrecks.
Yeah.
If we all remember, he tore a car in like half last year at Volusia. Was it at Volusia? No, I don't remember where it was, but it was gigantic. Or Eldora, maybe it was Eldora, but it was gigantic. This year, it looked like somebody. Huh?
Baylog, you mean? Wasn't it Lincoln? He had a really bad wreck at Lincoln, didn't he?
No, earlier in the season, car like tore in half. Remember, it was like.
Oh yeah.
He'd have a bad one at Lincoln too.
Yeah.
Somebody to comment.
Somebody called him fire, I think, at Lincoln.
Yeah, he wrecked. Yeah, called him fire at Lincoln, I think, but he wrecked big wherever that was last year. Dakota actually, a friend of our Dakota saw it and said the floor pan was gone when it flipped, and they said he was worried about his ankle. Like his foot fell out, his ankle was outside the car as he was flipping. So sounds like he's going to be all right. But yeah, that would be mine this week.
Oh, Chris.
I guess you have to drink it to Larson and Paul Silva getting their first Gator. It's easy pickings there, but to think about that combo, never winning at Volusia, it's kind of wild. And then to go out and win back-to-back races, get the big Gator, you got to drink to that. Dump it.
While you're thinking about it, that crash was the Joker's Wild last year at Eldora.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Check that out.
It's hard to dump it to anyone's performance in Volusia because unless you're an outlaw team, I think you use that more as a vacation if you're like a Danny Dietrich. You want to go run well, but you have to make one show. I don't know. So I guess dump it to Danny just because.
I will drink it to the Birds. Go Birds. I'm going to do that. I'm going to be that guy. Super Bowl champions, baby. Let's go. I'm going to dump it out to Dason Persley and my prediction for him. I know it's early, but he struggled. I don't think he made a feature all week. He was back at the B main most of the time. Just did not seem to have the speed to keep up with the big guns there. So they have some work to do. We'll see how that goes. Obviously, like I said, I want to see some of these guys get away from Volusia. Volusia's very, you got to really time well. And it's, the tracks were pretty racy besides Saturday. Tracks were pretty racy. I thought they did a pretty decent job, especially Thursday and Friday nights. I thought the track was pretty good. So I'll drink it to them because usually Volusia isn't as fun as it was. I thought they did a pretty good job and they put on some decent racing. You saw a lot of guys pass and some battles for the lead and everything. So, but yeah, it's really all I got. Brad Weatherby says, drink it to the upcoming events this week and next week. Dump it to Baylog. Santos says, drink it to T2T for another awesome episode. Thank you very much, Santos. Dump it to multiple good drivers that are without a ride for 25. Logan Wagner, Dylan Sisti, to name a couple. We'll see what happens as we get closer to the season here. Sometimes you start hearing some late news drop. We'll see. Steph says, much love to you all. I'm late like usual, with better late than never. Mandy says, drink it. Eagles Super Bowl champs. Seabell winning Thursday into 69K. Sheward on the podium. Daytona 500 coming up this weekend. Dump at the Bill Baylog, the Aussie driver who caught fire. Seabell's motor Saturday. My dirt draft picks, and PA drivers in general for not doing the hottest in Florida. Macri did. He didn't. He ended on a poor result, but just he had some speed early on. He was up in that top 10. And then Steph says, I'll dump at the Freddie Carpenter in the late model. Don't have dirt vision, so we were watching Lucas Oil. Freddie had a nasty wreck. Yeah, just as always, drink to all of you guys for tuning in. Thanks, everybody. Again, thanks Jordan and Dylan for joining us, and we wish them the best of luck this year. And we will be back next Monday. Have a good night.
Guest to be determined.
Yes. Well, we will announce a guest here sometime this week.